Hi, I'm Bart Hanson, the owner and operator of CrushLivePoker.com. The following hand comes from our call-in show that we record at 4:45 p.m. Pacific Time every Monday. If you want to call in your hand, check out the phone number in the description.
Hey, what's up, Bart?
Hey, what's going on?
All right, I got a hand from 2-5, 1,000 cap game.
Okay.
All right. So this pot is straddled to 10, under the gun straddle. So I got about 2,000, and it's folded to me. I'm gonna cut off, and I got pocket aces. Okay, and I raised to 45. Okay, the straddle was kind of a rec player that I was, looking to get action from.
Okay.
So make it 45.
Yep.
Okay. Now the cutoff. I'm sorry. So I'm going to cut off the button. Who is like a younger, looked like a decent player.
Yep.
He's got about 1250. So he's the effective stack basically.
Okay.
He 3-bets me to 145.
So what position was he in again?
He's on the button. He's on my left.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Now the blinds fold and the straddle folds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now it's back to me. So I decided to 4-bet to 425 here.
Okay.
I don't know if you like the sizing.
45 to 145 to 425, starting about 1250 effective. I think it's fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Because I really kind of thought that he wasn't like light. You know what I'm saying? Like the way the table was playing, I thought he had some kind of nice hand, to 3-bet me here just based on the table dynamics.
Right.
And all that.
Right.
So he thinks about it for a little bit, and he calls.
Okay.
Okay. So, like I said, I'm really putting him on a decent hand, whatever it may be, but something decent, right? So now the flop. So now we got about 860 in the pot. Okay, so very bloated, obviously.
And by the way, you have like one pot size bet left, right? Or well, there's one pot size bet left, effective in essence, right?
Yeah, well, he's the effective stack, but yeah, basically he started with 1250. So yeah, it's like what, like 825? Yeah,
Right.
like less than the pot size bet, exactly. Right. So the flop, excuse me, the flop comes out King 7-4 rainbow.
Okay.
Okay. So how do you? Just wanted to ask you, how do you like to play this flop, and just kind of the plan for the hand?
Well, Gene, I mean, I know you've been around the site for a long time, so I've talked about how when you're in these like sort of capped games,
Mm-hmm.
and even when you're in deeper games too, when you get into these bloated pots post flop. Now, if you're saying the kid's a decent player, that's one thing. So he might be able to hand read a little bit, but I don't think it can ever be bad to slow play in a bloated 4-bet pot really all that much. Now, here it's interesting because I'm sure you're scared of pocket kings here. So, I mean,
bit.
he
Yeah,
probably could
bit.
have like ace king, pocket kings, pocket queens, pocket jacks. It's really, really tough for you to get away from this hand. I mean, you do block ace king, obviously, right? But I just would probably go ahead and check here. And then just, I mean, if you're just saying that you can't really fold, it's very, very difficult for you to fold unless it really came out king, queen, jack. You know what I mean? You have 4-bet to 425. You have one pot size bet left. So now we're just trying to figure out how to get the most amount of money in it. So you might check, and if it goes check, check, you bet super small in the turn. Maybe you bet like 200, and then he calls, and then, or maybe you bet 250, and then you probably bet the river on a clean run out. I mean, that would be what my initial thinking would be.
Okay. So, all right. So I did check.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking kind of along the same lines that,
Yeah.
I mean, pocket kings, but, if it's pocket kings, not much we can do.
Right.
But also, like, I didn't really think, ace king. I mean, first of all, we block a lot. I mean, king on the board, we block a lot of ace kings. And also, it is a 4-bet, and it's a straddle pot on top of that. It's not,
Right.
So it's kind of, so I thought, like, queens or kings. So I check, he checks.
Okay.
He checks behind, which, again, I thought he was a good player. I think he would definitely check back with a set of kings, kind of like why I'm checking with aces as well. So now the turn is a 3.
Really, I mean, it really kind of is a weird situation. I mean, it's not weird. It's just the hand sort of, they probably should just like check back. I mean, he should probably check back ace king here too. there isn't a whole unless he thinks that you've got like queens and he can get bet super small. The
Hmm.
action is just kind of going to reveal itself just by happenstance on the turn in the river, I think.
All right, so the turn is a three.
Okay.
Uh, I think no suits, but doesn't matter much. So I actually decided to check again because, like, I thought, I kind of thought he's got either pocket kings or pocket queens mostly. If he's got pocket kings, there's not much I can do, I guess. But if he's got pocket queens, I figured I'm gonna check again because, like if I bet, it's kind of like the flop. But again, if I bet, it looks so strong. Like, I don't think he can call with pocket queens. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Mhm.
So I decided to check,
Yeah.
and now he bets 325.
He bets 325.
Right.
Okay.
325 into 860. Okay.
Okay.
So, yeah, so I decided to call. Kind of, I mean, mainly I'm just trying to keep him on the hook, to feign weakness
Well,
sort of
yeah,
thing.
the thing here is that, you put another 650 in there, so the pot's 1510, and
Hmm.
now you have 500 left. Are you just going to check call and just move all in on the river?
Well, that's sort of my question. So I called and the river was a nine.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Mhm.
And like you said, he's got about 500 left. So what do you think is the best?
I mean, if you're going to check call the turn, I think you have to probably just move all in on the river because a guy might check, who knows? I mean, you can make your hand look like it's pocket queens, but if you bet the river, I don't really see a guy folding ace king. It's probably pretty close and it's a little bit player dependent. You know what I mean? And like I said, I hate at the lower levels to try to have a guy, value bet my hand for me because it's just awful if they say, check back ace king. If I was playing against a guy that was a good player and I thought he would value bet ace king, then you can play it as a check at the end here too. I just can't give those guys credit for that though, and it's a four bet pot. The pot's 1500. He might just want to go to showdown. Although he does only have 500 left, so I think it's probably pretty close. I mean the EV of if he ever has any bluffs, I guess you can say you could check the
mm,
river, but I just can't
yeah, I
imagine
don't
how
know
he can
about
show
that.
up. How can he show up with bluffs? But at the
Yeah,
same
that's
time, it's hard for him to really call with pocket queens. But it's just
right.
it's a disaster if he checks back ace king. So I would probably just by default bet the end.
Okay. What about check jamming like the turn? Do you think it's better to do that or just call and lead the river?
Uh, I think it's probably better to call. I would lead the turn, to be honest with you.
Oh, lead the turn.
Yeah, I would lead the turn. Yeah, I mean check on the flop. Bet that checking the turn becomes awkward because whether it's check raising, which is strong, or calling, it's just you're at a positional disadvantage. I probably wouldn't have checked the turn.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. So I obviously I did call the turn, and the river was a nine, and so he had 500 left. I actually bet I did lead because I was afraid, of him kind of checking it through. But I only bet 300. I just like wanted to make sure that I get a call from queens because it's like a ridiculous, 5-1 pot odds. And he was so the reveal is he was like disgusted, and he was like basically he's like, all right, you got aces or ace queen, or he's got eight. I'm sorry, he said you got aces or kings. I call, and he did have ace king actually. So
Yeah, I mean I think I would have just moved in at the end, to be honest with you. But that's why you can just set your price on the turn to like follow it up with an all in. Um, but I mean, you left $200. Sometimes when you leave people some money, maybe you bet like 400 at the end. There is a little psychological thing where you leave some people some money and you're more apt to get a call some of the time. You
yeah,
know
I
what I
was just
mean?
kind of yeah, I was just kind of like a little bit surprised that he had ace king. I thought mostly queens, and I thought like when I'm moving all in on the river, and he's got queens, like he's not beating like anything now, really,
Yeah.
and so that's why I kind of bet small. But yeah, it was just kind of weird, weird hand, with the bloated pot and all that. But all right, well, I appreciate your feedback.
Hey guys, if you like what you've seen here, please click on the subscribe button and you'll get notified every time we put up a new video. And if you want to check out crushlivepoker.com for the first month free, use the code YTA100. Click on the link right there.